This is another onion bed, but this end we've got spring onions, white Lisbon, and then leek King Richard, which you can pick as mini spring onions or mini leeks, and then 2 rows of leek sultan, which is this one. This is just an earlier sowing. I think we probably sowed that at the end of last year, but I've spaced those out already, so hopefully I won't have to move those.
Okay.
And then in the middle going to seed are Elsa Craig that we started off last year.
Oh, these are the ones I encouraged you to plant last year.
Yeah, but I think they're supposed to have nice big bulbs on them by the time they have seed heads on. So I don't think they're going to get big. I think.
Okay, so that's my fault.
That's all your fault. Yeah. This is another sowing, but this year at the right time.
So that's Elsa Craig again.
Yeah, and then that's a slightly later sowing of it. So you see they're slightly smaller than these ones. And then this bed's for runner beans all the way along the back, and lettuce are underneath the cloche there. These are tumbling tomatoes, and those are something called marmond tomatoes, which are quite large ones. Haven't tried them before, either of them actually. French marigolds, lots of Californian poppy.
Right.
Those are salvias, Artemis, and then over there we've got white poppies, larkspur, and then those are sunflowers. These are Oriental Poppies that I grew from seed a couple of years ago, and the lupin, which is just starting to come into flower. They're all from seed, and they've been in the ground all year. But these dahlias are from tubers I took out of the ground before Christmas. I didn't get them dealt with properly, and they'd all turned white and furry, and I didn't think they were going to do anything at all.
Oh, that was the mould you showed me. Yeah.
Yes, but I covered them in soil, and they produced these shoots. There and there, little ones there, and they're looking a bit strange, but we'll see what they do. It'll be interesting. I didn't think they'd do anything at all. And that's wild rocket, which the bees love. That's a hollyhock from a couple of years ago. It might flower this year. And then monkshood, which has a beautiful, or aconite, it has a beautiful blue flower on it. And then chives that have gone to seed there, which I prefer them like that than there's too much to eat. And then I've got the little greenhouse there, stuffed with more flowers. Cosmos in the top, and asters, coleus stocks, phlox, chamomile lawn, all sorts of stuff. Cauliflowers, which I haven't tried before. Kabuki, they're more of the mini broccoli. Kale. Those are collected pea twinkle, which are the pea pod peas. So I'm quite pleased that they're germinating. That's the first time I've grown anything from seed I've collected from a vegetable. More pea Kennedy just starting to come up, and those are spinach.
What's in the tub at the bottom?
Well, those are little marigolds that are self-seeded in the box bed, and I didn't want to have to do all that deadheading like I did last year. So I've potted them into a tray, and then I'll either give them to a friend or find somewhere that I don't mind. They don't, not deadheading them. And those are more dahlias just coming on in. These we've got hollyhocks over towards the left. They're looking so good. It seems a pity to plant them out because they won't look like that for long once they're in the garden. But they won't flower until next year. That's because
of the wind again.
Yeah, the wind and slugs. These are blue poppies. Which
get close.
Just teeny weeny seedlings at the moment, but they're blue poppies.
Okay.
It's interesting. They say to grow them in ericaceous compost, and those two are ericaceous, and you can see I've got one there and one there. But this one's ordinary multi-purpose compost, and I've got 4 in there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go. These are all sweet peas, a variety of different sorts, and I keep pinching the tops out of them. They're looking a bit floppy, but I think they'll be alright in the ground. These are violas, rudbeckias, and they're granny's bonnets, so aquilegias. These are red and green peppers from collected seed, you know, from peppers
Right.
we bought at the supermarket.
Yeah.
I've got far too many of them, so I shall have to give some of those away.
Okay, but I suppose we don't know what they're going to grow like, because...
They might be awful.
Okay.
These are daturas, these three here.
Right.
That's something called cleome, which has pink and white flowers on it. We've got some daddy blue petunias. These are peppers from bought seed. I think they're tasty red peppers. This is my first new potato sowing.
Oh, so there you go, Brendan. That's the...
That's
there is a
Swift.
bag under there, yes.
But I stupidly, I've got other things above it, and so I need to grow it somewhere where it doesn't have things up above it, I think. On the floor under here, these are Freesia bulbs. I've got 3 pots of those. Fuchsias are gradually coming back. I thought the winter had killed them. These are all my Gardener's Delight tomatoes. They got quite leggy. They're for greenhouse growing, and as usual I've grown too many. There's a couple of cucumbers in there, and the courgettes. These are beans, runner beans, Aintree, and in the front of the bucket that's sweet corn. And then we're back into flowers again. Oh, well that's a melon. That's a later sowing than these two, but these aren't very good at all, so I'll probably sow some more. Got Oriental Poppies in the back. These are delphiniums that I actually sent away for the plants, so I've just potted those on. Chrysanthemums, dahlias, that's another pepper. We've got more carnations at the back, and then lobelias, and then this one just opened last night. It's Petunia Ultra Blue, and it's a whole mix of whites, lilacs and blues. And the smell is fantastic.
Yeah. And this one?
This is Petunia Dusty Rose. That they might have to stay a greenhouse petunia, because I think if I put them out, they're never going to look as good as that with the wind and the rain. These are lobelias, white trailing lobelias I've grown from seed. So they're again desperately wanting to get out. I've potted up 3 morning glories, which are looking a bit pale, but with 3 of the lobelias, and they're climbing up quite well. I'll put them out as soon as the weather gets a bit better. And then this is the passion flower, and it's now starting to get lots of little flower buds on it, and every time it produces these things, these
runners,
I just poke them back in again because we want it to form a circle. Charlotte and Maris here, I think, so they're both second earlies, and I've tried to keep topping them up, so it gets to the stage where they're sort of that tall, and then topping them up's a real pain because you keep damaging the foliage. So God knows what we'll get out of those. But they've been grown purely outside. So this is the blueberry. I think this will be its 3rd year here, and probably its 3rd year in that pot. I've topped it up with ericaceous compost. You're supposed to do water with rainwater, I think, but we haven't had a lot of that recently, so it's getting tap water. But this here, I think I've been letting it grow, thinking it was part and parcel of the plant and like a runner, but I think it's a sneaky little thing that's come in and sort of mimicked it, because it doesn't look a bit like it now it's got to this stage, really. So
I'll pull it and see if it's attached.
it's probably a tree. So I think that's on borrowed time. I'm really pleased with the hostas this year. I separated them all out into the individual pots last year, I think, or the year before. But they always get eaten. So as soon as they started sprouting this year, I got soap pallets down and put a top dressing on. And touch wood, they haven't been eaten yet. This is all mint in the front, which again I've top dressed, and seems to quite like it here. It's dappled shade. It looks good enough to eat.